Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. I just wanted to say right off the top, 2 nights in a row, we have started exactly on time. We have pushed the 30-second countdown 30 seconds before 6 p.m. Eastern time, right on the dot. We're hoping that maybe we can do this every day this week. That would be great. And I told Andy, I said, I think we were able to do it tonight because we started off the week well. We started off Monday, starting the show right on time. Let's try to do it the whole week. We'll see. We'll see if I get here early. We'll see if we get all the work done. It's really, it takes all of us. It takes a village, but I think we can do it. Anyway, you might be watching here on X or on Facebook right now. And if you are, I urge you to come over to Rumble. Rumble.com/Hayley is the only place you can watch Nightly Scroll in full. And I feel like the show gets better as it goes on. We have more fun. The wheels come off, as I say. So come on over to Rumble. Rumble.com/Hayley, like I said, brings you to the Bongino Report channel. Make sure that you follow, you subscribe. We are sitting at an unfortunate 666,000 followers. I want to get off that number. A lot of people in the chat are talking about it. I agree. I see you. I agree. So tell a friend, send this link to a friend, tell them to follow, tell them to subscribe so we can get off the devil number over here and we can just move up in the world. And I appreciate it. So again, rumble.com/Hayley. Of course, if you can't catch us live at 6 p.m. Eastern time, that is A-okay. You can watch whenever you want on Rumble, and you can listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And of course, just a shameless plug for my social media at Hayley Caronia on most platforms. But what do we have on the scroll tonight? Well, the House voted to urge the DOJ to release all of the Epstein Files. It was an almost unanimous vote, so we're going to get into why that one lone Republican did not vote for it. Also, President Trump is a comedian, and we're going to go through the greatest hits of the week, and it's only Tuesday. He's just been crushing it and just kicking ass and taking names when it comes to the mainstream media, so absolutely love it. We're going to go through all those videos right off the top. And another criminal illegal alien has been nabbed with a commercial driver's license. This time, he's a wanted terrorist, and the license was issued in Pennsylvania. Just a reminder that this is happening all over the country. It's not just California. It's not just New York. It's everywhere. And just a reminder that this is Biden's fault. So thank you, President Biden. Also, Sunny Hostin on The View. She thinks that United States is racist. Of course, this comes on the heels of Michelle Obama's comments recently about how, the United States is so racist. We're never going to, we're not ready for a woman president. We're not ready for a black president. I mean, it's asinine, but we're going to get into her comments. Also, Germany is testing out fake cockroach spies to use for wartime intel. It is giving Bugged a whole new meaning. So we're going to get into that. Before we get started on the show, I want to tell you about Goldbelly, our sponsor for tonight's show. I have used Goldbelly, and let me tell you, it is incredible. Goldbelly is where you can ship your favorite foods from your famous, iconic restaurants all over the country. They will ship it to you wherever. It's on dry ice. It comes super fresh. I've already told this story on the show, but I was going through a breakup in Nashville, and I was really missing my New York bagels. If you know, you know. If you're from the New York area, you know that the water is required for a good bagel. And, there's nowhere in Nashville that I could get a good bagel. I'm sorry. But I did get good bagels on Goldbelly because my friend sent them to me using Goldbelly, and it made me so much happier. So I absolutely love it. The quality is incredible. It ships super fast and easy, and it's the kind of meal, you can order anything. It's not just snacks. You can order stuff for Thanksgiving, for holidays, and it's the kind of stuff that makes Thanksgiving into a memory maker when you get these good foods or desserts from these iconic restaurants. Like I said, shipping was super easy. Everything arrived fresh, perfectly packed on the dry ice. I used to be skeptical about ordering food online, but Goldbelly has totally changed my mind. So if you are looking for the perfect holiday gift or you want to impress your friends and family with an epic Thanksgiving, go to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code SCROLL. That's goldbelly.com, code SCROLL for 20% off your first order. And without further ado, put those phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts. Voted on whether or not to release the Epstein Files, or they voted to urge the DOJ to release what they have. And it was almost unanimous. So they overwhelmingly approved the bill that would release whatever they have in regards to this investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. And the tally of that final vote was 427 to 1. And 5 members of Congress did not vote. But one guy voted no to release the Epstein Files. So who was it? It was Congressman Clay Higgins of Louisiana. He's pro-Trump. He's a Republican. Why not vote to release the Epstein Files? It seems like, everyone wants this to be done. Even President Trump is so over this at this point. He's like, just release it. I have nothing to hide. I mean, shit. No one's going to stop talking about this until we do it. So do it. And I appreciate that. So anyway, it goes through the House. The next moves, it's got to go through the Senate. And if it's approved by the Senate, it'll then go to Trump. Trump has already said that he will sign the legislation. But, the Justice Department has been pretty clear on not releasing the names of victims and also not releasing childhood sexual abuse material. So it's unclear what this bill will really do, if passed, if anything. Personally, I don't want to see victims' names being released against their will. I think most people can agree on that. What the American people want overwhelmingly is to nab the clients, right? That's what this is all about. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail. But who else was implicated? Who did they sell girls to? Who did they sell sex to? Who did they sell access to? It is the unraveling of this web that people are mostly interested in, not the child porn on Jeffrey Epstein's computer. And, Clay Higgins was the one guy who he wants the files released, by the way. His reasoning is because he's concerned about what the bill will do to victims, which is a valid concern. I think he knew that the vote was going to go through regardless, so he was kind of just like standing on his own personal principles. But this is what he said on X. I have been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media, true, will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt, not by my vote. The Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address the privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes back to the House. All right. It's valid concerns. Also, doesn't really matter at this point because it's voted. So now it's up to the Senate. And we'll see if other people in the Senate have these same concerns. But, I do agree that, unfortunately, the way the media works now is if people's names are in the files, and we've seen this is how Democrats react to this, right? They pounce on everything, whether there's evidence or not, whether it actually criminally implicates someone or not. They don't care, right? They see Trump's name 1,000 times and they're like, we got him, So it's kind of like trial by, court of public opinion. And it's not really the way that the justice system is supposed to work. If they release all these names, people are going to come up with their own conclusions, and it's not necessarily true. And like I said, we're seeing this play out right now with Donald J. Trump. So I get it. We know why Republicans want the files released. They've been wanting this for years. I have advocated for this. Obviously, sitting members of Congress have advocated for this. People running for office have advocated for this. Republicans have been talking about this for years. Whether, Trump is implicated or not, Republicans have wanted transparency. Democrats, of course, they also want this, but for different reasons. They just want to get Trump, so whatever. But another interesting tidbit is about what Democrats are doing or were doing with Jeffrey Epstein. Yesterday I told you about Representative Stacey Plaskett, who represents or represented the Virgin Islands, where Jeffrey Epstein has those or had those 2 islands. And he was texting back and forth with Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett She's a non-voting delegate. But Michael Cohen was testifying on Capitol Hill, and Jeffrey Epstein is telling her what to ask him. We covered this yesterday. Today, Congressman Jamie Raskin, Democrat, of course, was defending her, saying that all she was doing was taking one of the phone calls of her constituents. Of course. Of course. She was just texting Jeffrey Epstein because she represents him, and she's supposed to represent her constituents. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. But Stacey Plaskett said she didn't know that he was a sex offender at the time. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. These people, they're just pulling shit out of their ass right now. Anything to just skirt the blame and pretend like they're not best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Then Stacey Plaskett was throwing it back at Republicans saying, how often do you text Trump? You text Trump and he's a felon. And it's like, all right, Jeffrey Epstein was feeding you questions, girl. That's totally different. And, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was asked why he hadn't condemned Stacey Plaskett at the time for that in 2019. He gave some bumbling answer. Well, now it turns out that Hakeem Jeffries is also buddy-buddy with Jeffrey Epstein. Here is Congressman James Comer on the House Oversight Committee exposing him and his ties to Epstein on the House floor. Watch this.
Colleagues' coordination with Epstein. Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their
private
2013
meetings.
Effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch. The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation. With that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, we reserve.
The gentleman reserves.
Speaking of, I want to react to that also, but he's talking about how the House Oversight Committee is releasing these 60,000 pages, right? And I think the American people just don't trust the government at all. Because if the government is in charge and they get to pick and choose what is being released, how can the American people really trust that all they're doing is protecting innocent victims? What if they're protecting their own? Clearly, we see that all these people in Congress, they're buddy-buddy with Jeffrey Epstein. They're on, nickname basis. They're texting, and they need his money in the case of Hakeem Jeffries. So it's if the government is in charge of, disseminating this information out to us, it's why would we believe you? It's just, I don't know. So I hope that, everything comes out. I want everything to come out. I don't care if Trump's implicated. I don't care. I don't care who's implicated. I want to know everything. So I'm in favor of this, but it just seems like I'm sure I'm not the only one who's worried about, can we trust the information that's coming out? Can we trust the source? And I'm not the only one that doesn't trust the government. So anyway, but based on James Comer totally airing out Hakeem Jeffries' dirty laundry. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries needed Jeffrey Epstein's money. The Democrats, they were trying to win elections. They call on Jeffrey Epstein. I'm glad the truth is coming out. Jeffrey Epstein was a financier to the Democrats. He ran in the same circles as high-profile people. And guess what? Doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on. There are bad people on both sides. There are corrupt people on both sides. There are pedophiles on both sides. And these people claim to be on the side of the American people, but they're really all out for themselves and their own selfish and sometimes potentially illegal desires. So again, whoever gets exposed in this file dump, if it ever comes, should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Not by the court of public opinion, by the law. Because in this country, we believe in due process, right? You are innocent until you are proven guilty. However, I'm also, I'm hopeful. Do I think that this is going to happen? Not really. And I also don't really believe too much in the justice system. I think the system is flawed. As it is, bad people get away with pedophilia. They get away with murder. And it's because of who they know and how rich they are. And it's them against us. That's what this comes down to. It's them. It is elites against us. It's not even party lines. It's elites against us. On a lighter note, I want to switch gears now to Trump being an absolute comedian. I mean, Ronald Reagan had some very funny moments, but Donald Trump is like, he's firing off jokes like a freaking machine gun. Like, it's every time he's in front of a camera, he's a comedian. He's an entertainer. And it started over the weekend. So I believe this was on Sunday, and he was getting off of Air Force One, and he told a Bloomberg reporter that they are the worst. So here's first of many greatest hits of the week. And like I said, it's only Tuesday.
Look, I can't tell him. Will you let me finish my statement? You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you. We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes.
So Bloomberg's asking, Donald Trump about this like MAGA civil war. It's so annoying. Whether it's Israel, Nick Fuentes, whatever, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro. I mean, it's internet slop. It's so annoying. I don't know why we have to condemn each other and pay attention to, and why do we all have to condemn what the other one? It's ridiculous. But anyway, they're asking the freaking president of the United States about Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and what they're talking about. Why you need to get the president on the record talking about this, I don't know. But it seems like it's just like a mainstream media trap where Bloomberg wants to get President Trump on the record saying like Nick Fuentes isn't that bad. And then, they can run with it the way that the media does. So this is what they're doing. But, the identity of that specific reporter is unconfirmed. Mediaite said that it could have been former Bloomberg journalist Jennifer Jacobs, and now she's with CBS. But we're not sure. And President Trump lashed out at another Bloomberg reporter. Not sure if this is the same one or a different one, but this time he went for the jugular. Watch this.
Sir, if there's nothing incriminating in the file, sir, why not
Quiet Piggy? I need to know what this woman looks like now, because do you think he was making fun of her appearance? I don't know. We don't even know if it's her. So I don't know, but I mean, I would absolutely never recover from the president of the United States saying quiet piggy. I would never recover. You know what it reminds me of? In President Trump's first term, when it was in the Rose Garden, I think. They were doing an event outside, and President Trump called on some reporter who wasn't ready. And he said, oh, you didn't think that I was going to call on you? And then she was like, I didn't think. And he's like, you never think, you never do. I mean, he is known for these savage burns, and he just comes up with them off the top of his head. It's a skill. It's a skill, and he has honed that skill. And obviously, he's not shy about yelling at reporters. We've seen him do this throughout the years, and clearly, recently, he's on a kick. But he will also yell at anyone who is being stupid, as he claims in this next clip. Watch this.
Mr. President, I have a question about Venezuela, but can I just first ask, the health of the president's always news. Your voice sounds a little rough. Are you feeling all right?
I feel great. I was shouting at people because they were stupid about something having to do with trade in a country, and I straightened it out. But I blew my stack at these people.
Well, it sounds like there's
even in a room full of liberal journalists who probably hate this guy, he makes them laugh. They have to admit that he's funny, and he's got to be the most entertaining president they've ever covered in their lives. And then, they'll laugh at his jokes, and then they'll probably go back to their computers and write about how awful he is. That's just the way it goes. But, President Trump, he delivered remarks yesterday at the McDonald's Impact Summit. He's talking about his own mission to bring down costs, to bring down inflation. And the McDonald's CEO has been warning customers that they may have to pay more for their favorite fast food chain. And it's President Trump's favorite as well. So the issue is very personal for him. And he was joking about how, McDonald's is the meal on Trump Force One. If you're on Trump Force One, you're getting Mickey D's. You know, other people, they've got some fancy plane catering. If you're flying on Air Force One, it's usually McDonald's. But here he is talking about his humble beginnings at McDonald's. Watch this.
I'm thrilled to be here with the men and the women who are really the heart and soul of one of the greatest, most admired, and most successful companies in the history of the world, frankly. The one and only McDonald's. I've gone there a couple of times.
You've gone there a couple of times.
And I'm honored to stand before you as the very first former McDonald's fry cook ever to become president of the United States. And I actually was there for about 30 minutes, and that was 30 minutes longer than Kamala was there. Right? Despite her job at McDonald's, that didn't work out too well. And the person at McDonald's that informed us off the record that she never worked there, whoever you are, we appreciate that. That was very nice.
He will do anything. He commits to the bit. Anything about Trump, he commits to the bit. If Kamala Harris said that she worked at McDonald's and it's proven that he's not, he's like, well, I'll put on a damn apron and I'll go work there so that I work 30 minutes longer than Kamala Harris. And I think that those kind of photo stunts, President Trump, that delivered him the win. Obviously, people did not want, Biden round 2 in form of Kamala Harris, of course. And there were a lot of other reasons why President Trump came out on top in 2024. But when he comes down and looks people in the eye, he's on eye level. He's not the president of the United States. He's a fry cook at McDonald's. I mean, obviously, we know this is a photo op and it's for publicity and whatever. But it's so funny and it just makes him so human. And I think it gives the American people something to joke about. It shows his personality. It shows that he can poke fun at himself, which people probably claim that he can't, but he can. And he's so funny. And I just think that was one of the moments, that and the garbage truck, that it just sealed the deal for him. Like, people really did identify with that moment. Like, not that, McDonald's fry cooks are like, all right, that's my president, I'm going to go vote for him now. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them didn't feel that way, but it was just like a good, wholesome moment. And I think that's where Trump shines. But today, President Trump welcomed the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to the White House. And here he is. Of course, he has to give a tour to the Crown Prince. And they took a stop in between his two portraits, of course, to showcase President Otto Pen Biden in that photo right there, which is, it's just hilarious that, he's hosting the Crown Prince and he's like, well, we've got to stop and make fun of, my predecessor, of course. It's just.
Didn't he do a thing with Laura Ingraham there too a couple of nights ago where she interviewed him at the White House and she got that to a same tour? Anybody that's coming over, he's stopping
they're gonna
and
see,
showing them.
Yeah, they're going to see the Otto Pen for sure, the photo of the Otto Pen. Anyone, it doesn't matter who you are. But again, later today, they're in the Oval Office, the two of them, and he totally lashed out again at an ABC reporter saying that they are terrible. Watch this.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein Files? Why not just do it now?
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein Files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. People are wise to your hoax, and ABC's your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman,
who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible.
Well, we know that ABC News is not credible, and his distaste for ABC, I'm sure, stems from the fact that ABC had to pay Donald Trump's presidential library $15 million to settle that defamation lawsuit because ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos, he was talking about fake news, saying that Trump had been found civilly liable for raping E. Jean Carroll when that is not true. So, in other words, you know what they say, talk shit, get hit. When you talk shit, you get hit with a defamation lawsuit. And then, you know, the president just might come for you.
The funniest thing about that clip to me is, have you ever been like over a friend's house and the dad just starts yelling at the kid, and you're just there twiddling your thumbs like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. The Prince of Saudi Arabia is just sitting in a chair watching him clean house, and I just think that's priceless. I think that's a story within a story.
It's the best part. It really is the best part. He's probably like, what? And then are there, you know, translators in there that are like, I mean, how do you even begin to translate what's going on in the room? Anyway, taking a quick break to tell you about Chef IQ. Cooking Thanksgiving is high stakes. It feels like one dried out turkey can ruin it all. That's why I love my Chef IQ Sense. This is wireless cooking thermometer, and it takes the guesswork out of holiday cooking. The USDA says turkey's got to hit 165 degrees Fahrenheit to be safe, and your eyes can deceive. But Chef IQ ensures you hit that perfect temperature every time. So whether you're roasting, grilling, pan-searing, or even smoking the turkey, it has got you covered, and it couldn't be easier. All you do is insert the sensor, tell the app what you're cooking, and then you can sit back and relax. Chef IQ Sense tells you when to flip, when to take it off the heat, and even how long to let it rest. It's basically like having a personal chef watching the stove so that you can hang out with your guests. No more oven peaking, no more dried out turkey, perfectly cooked meals every time. And it works for steaks, chicken, fish, whatever you're cooking. You will wonder how you ever cooked without it. Plus, it is the ultimate gift for the holiday season. Perfect for seasoned cooks, kitchen rookies, and everyone in between. Now you can get 30% off site-wide with code SCROLL at chefiq.com. That is chefiq.com, promo code SCROLL. Also want to tell you about Blackout Coffee. I have some right here. And, you know, I drink Blackout Coffee every day. It is the coffee of Silverlock Media. And if you are like me and you need to get that caffeine fix fast in the morning or the afternoon or the evening like me, their coffee pods are a total game changer. These aren't your average grocery store pods. Blackout pods are packed with fresh roasted bold coffee made right here in Florida. And they work fast with those single-serve pod brewers. It is easy. It is actually delicious. I love all the flavors. They've got so many flavors, and because it's holiday season, they've got peppermint mocha, gingerbread, some other things. So if you're into those flavors, go take a look at their website. They're not bitter. They're not stale. You just pop in a little coffee pod. Boom. You've got a strong, smooth cup in just seconds. So whether you're racing out the door, juggling kids, jumping into back-to-back calls, this is your new morning lifesaver. And the best part is they ship nationwide. So no matter where you live, you can have Florida Fresh coffee at your door in just days. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll or use code SCROLL at checkout for 20% off your first order. All right, well, unfortunately, Charlotte, North Carolina it's been exposed as a trafficking hub. And therefore, ICE is moving in the same way they moved into LA, the same way they moved into Chicago. And the Department of Homeland Security, they have said that they have called on state and local officials in North Carolina to cooperate with them. All the federal government wants is for the local authorities there to detain individuals that have been flagged for immigration violations. They're not doing that. DHS came out and said that there were 1,400 detainer requests that were not honored. So those offenders have been released back into the community. Remember Obama catch and release, Biden catch and release? It's happening even in a red state. That's the problem. So now Trump is taking care of it. But here's a CNN headline. Charlotte is the latest stop on DHS's immigration blitz. Locals say it's political. So now safety is political. if you ask CNN and the Democrats. And I'm going to read you just a little bit of this article from CNN. Democratic leaders in Charlotte have largely framed the operation, which came as a surprise to local officials, as political distractions ahead of next year's midterm elections. And they interviewed a city council member whose name is Dimple Ajmera. I kid you not. So they interviewed Dimple. Here's what Dimple said. This administration ran on rhetoric that is anti-immigrant to score political points. We have a very important U.S. Senate race in 2026 coming up, and they want to score political points and use fear to divide our community. Fear? Who is afraid of law enforcement? Who is afraid of law enforcement? Criminals! People who are evading the law. If you have not broken the law, you have nothing to worry about. And yet, here is a Latino man who has apparently turned on Trump over this ICE crackdown. Watch this.
And Willie, you told me that you voted for President Trump in 2024. Do you regret that decision? ¿Te arrepientes esa decisión?
Yes, 100%.
Why do you regret that decision?
That's because it's nothing that's true. It's not true. You know, and the first time he says something, and now, example, in the Latino people, we see everything is different. And the first time, example, he say he go to catch the delincuentes. Criminals, yeah.
Right.
And right now, he don't follow to criminals. He go to specific to Latino people. Why Latino people? Because in the last Saturday, example, behind to me, I see the white people, the black people, and some people, Indian people, and Chinese people, and me. The DHS come specific to me and catch to me, not other people, because don't care to other people, specific Latino people.
Okay. So he's claiming, by the way, that the Trump administration is going after a lot of people. Not just Latino people, but a lot of people. And I don't know what people are confused about. President Trump ran on Build the Wall in 2015. That is what solidified his place in the Oval Office in 2016. People really resonated with Build the Wall after Obama's catch and release. People saw the impacts of that. Shitty policies, shitty results. And people didn't want to deal with it anymore. In comes President Trump, and he says, I've got a solution. I'm going to crack down on immigration. That was his claim to fame. And in 2020, same thing. In 2024, finally he gets back into the White House, and he was very clear when it came to this recent immigration crackdown that they are going to start with the worst of the worst. They are going to start with the criminal illegal aliens who have already broken immigration law, by the way. Maybe they've overstayed visas. Maybe they went about it the right way and then they didn't update their paperwork or whatever. They're going to go after those people who have also committed horrific crimes, rape, murder, DUI, etc. But they never said that they're not going to go after everyone else. They said that they're going to start with the really bad guys, the bad hombres, and then they're going to go and enforce the law. This guy in the video says, President Trump said he would catch the criminals. Well, guess what he's doing? He's catching the damn criminals. So even though CNN and Democrats have made this out to be some political distraction for political points or government overreach, the truth is DHS, ICE, and CBP agents are fighting crime, and now they're up against threats from violent agitators. DHS told Fox News and Bill Melugin that, we've been updating you on the statistics on how much the attacks on ICE agents have been going up and up and up compared to last year. I remember before the LA riots, it was like 300%, then it jumped to 500%, 800%. It is now 1,300% increase in vehicle rammings and attacks on ICE agents compared to 2020. 1,300% up on ICE agents, 58% up on CBP agents. And under Democrat leadership, by the way, they imported terrorists who pose a danger to American citizens, all under the guise of asylum seekers, and these are just people coming here for a better life. So again, according to Bill Malugin, ICE has arrested a Uzbeki illegal who was wanted on terrorism charges. Yeah, authorities in Uzbekistan accused this guy of distributing terrorist propaganda, and he was calling for jihad online and recruiting other terrorists to join the jihad movement. So did he stay in Uzbekistan? No. Thanks to the Biden administration, he came here. Awesome. Not only that, thanks to Democrats in Pennsylvania, he got a CDL license in Pennsylvania. He was driving an 18-wheeler in Kansas because, as we know, just because you receive your license from Pennsylvania or California or New York, they go running amok all over the country. They get this license and then they're driving an 18-wheeler. And we saw this with the Indian national in Florida killing 3 people. We saw it in California, another Indian national killing 3 people. Now this guy, a freaking terrorist, a wanted terrorist who wants to recruit other terrorists right here in the United States, right here in Kansas. Again, you can't even move to a red state to get away from this. It's all over the country. And he was released into our country and granted work authorization by the Biden administration. So you can thank President Biden for all of this. Thank goodness Kamala Harris didn't win the election. This would have been way freaking worse. How many other terrorists would have been imported into our country? I don't even want to think about it. Democrats allowed terrorists into our country. They gave them truck licenses to drive on our roads. But thankfully, we have leaders in red states like Greg Abbott. He posted this on X earlier today. And he said this: today, I designated the Muslim Brotherhood and Council on American Islamic Relations as foreign terrorists and transnational criminal organizations. This bans them from buying or acquiring land in Texas and authorizes the Attorney General to sue to shut them down. This is what we need to see. Democrats are unfortunately the party that usher terrorism into our cities and give them driver's licenses and let them buy land. And Republicans are the party that cracks down on terror. So thank you to Governor Greg Abbott for saving people in Texas. Although they can, probably buy land in Democrat cities and then get a commercial driver's license in Democrat cities and then come to Texas. So anyway, at least he's giving the Attorney General the power to shut that down if they do come here, which is great. Here's a quick update on a story from last week. I told you that there was a staffer in Senator Tammy Duckworth's office who was posing as a lawyer. He was not a lawyer, but he was posing as a lawyer to help an illegal alien go free. And, Todd Lyons, he said, we're not going to deal with this in the United States of America. We're going to send a letter to Tammy Duckworth's office and get some answers on this, i.e., did Senator Tammy Duckworth know that she hired someone who was posing as a lawyer to get criminals out of jail? And she did send this letter back to Todd Lyons on time. She had a deadline of the 17th. And she said this: Dear Acting Director Lyons, he's the acting director of ICE, I am writing in response to your November 12th, 2025 letter regarding interactions between an employee of my Senate office and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement offices in St. Louis ICE field office. Upon reviewing the matter, I can confirm that neither I nor my leadership team was aware of the authorized or directed what your letter describes as the employee's conduct. My office has terminated the employment of said employee effective November 17th. So I guess we can all be grateful that Todd Lyons and other Republicans in charge are paying attention to who Senate Democrats are hiring in their offices and what they're doing under the noses of said Democrat senators. Do we believe that Senator Tammy Duckworth had no idea? Probably not. But, the person's fired. So there's a good update for all of us here. All right, we're 40 minutes in. What do we hit here? Should I go into some Turning Point USA stuff?
The crazy teachers.
Yeah, we got to get into this because I covered this. This might have been a few weeks ago now. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. But a group of students, I think it was 8 students at Fort Lewis College in Colorado, they wanted to have a Turning Point USA chapter on their campus. And unfortunately, the associated students of Fort Lewis College, they said no. They did not want Turning Point USA to have a chapter on Fort Lewis College's campus because they were concerned about what this means for the LGBTQ students and then, fascism and all that stuff, right? Now, shortly after that chapter was denied, a counter petition was launched and it got over 1,000 signatures. And ultimately, the student government at Fort Lewis College reversed itself and on November 7th approved the chapter. So they had an emergency meeting to get this done. And at this meeting, David Kozak, a former professor of anthropology at Fort Lewis College, he had a problem with Turning Point USA being accepted on campus. Here's how this adult, air quotes, reacted. Watch.
Go on, fascists. Go on, Nazi lovers.
There he is, the bald guy.
Don't engage. Come on, Nazis.
Let's be kindness. Kill him with kindness. Don't take his bait. Come on. Let's be calm. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. We haven't said anything to you. Thank you.
Wow. He's flipping the bird at the camera.
Fuck the Nazis. Fuck the Nazis. Jesus loves you. Oh, he does. And he loves Nazis too, huh?
No, Jesus.
Isn't it amazing? This is the adult in the room, right? This is a professor. He's supposed to be the adult in the room. He's flipping the bird at students, calling them Nazis. And they are responding with love and kindness and saying, we'll pray for you. Jesus loves you. And of course, he has to retort back with other just disgusting rhetoric like, oh, and Jesus likes Nazis too. This is supposed to be someone who teaches students about Nazism, maybe. And they don't even know the truth. They're calling Turning Point USA chapter members Nazis. That's not true. Colleges have become indoctrination camps. And, thankfully I had a good college experience. I didn't really experience a lot of this woke stuff that's been going on. It's gotten a lot worse in recent years. But looking back, I don't know if I'd go to college today. It just seems like a total scam. I took so many classes that I didn't need. I'm still paying it back. And it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. I mean, these are going to be your professors. They're toddlers.
I don't use my degree at all. I should have never gone.
It's crazy. There's one class, maybe 2, that I used. I took a studio television production class, which has been helpful in my career. But I mean, I don't use it now. So all I use is my hands-on work experience in real life. That's how you learn. So there should honestly be trade school for more than just the trades. Like you should be able to go to college and just like a la carte your classes and take what you need. It's just so stupid that kids are going to school and then, they're learning from these freaks of nature. Similar reaction from a professor at Purdue University Northwest. This professor barged in on a Turning Point USA meeting and decided to bestow some what she thinks is wisdom on these Turning Point USA chapter members. Watch this.
Oh, you want to know what fascism means? Because I'll tell you. You guys want to know?
Yeah.
When you have a society. Okay. So you have a situation here where you want to go into classrooms and you want to tell the faculty that they're not allowed to speak the truth about the history of this country. You want them to be, what's the word for slaves now? Volunteer, involuntary employees or involuntary workers. We can't even say slavery. That's ridiculous.
Wanting to impose on the teachers. We are wanting to
what?
the students. And
the students want to decide what history is.
No, we know what history is actually. Yeah. Did you know that all of our founding fathers were actually Christian, and this country was formed on Christian values?
she's claiming that Turning Point USA wants to rewrite history, and that's not true. But it seems like these college professors, they're the ones that want to rewrite history. They're the ones that want to teach kids, white kids, Christian kids, about slavery, make them feel bad for their whiteness. We see this a lot. And she was like, just with this smug voice, oh, you want to learn about fascism? You want me to tell you what fascism is? Just like talking down to these students. And if you realize in that video, she's standing in front of this screen, and on the screen, if you could pull up the video and try to pause it, and I can try to read it a little bit, but the screen is like saying what Turning Point USA stands for. And it's about like small government and free speech. It says Turning Point USA's mission is to educate students about the importance of freedom, free markets, limited government through nonpartisan debate and discussion. And, I can't read the rest, but you know what Turning Point USA stands for. Conversation with the other side. And, big government sucks. That's what they stand for. So isn't it so funny? She's calling them fascists and they're standing for small government. It's like literally on the screen behind her.
And who invited her in there?
No one. She barged in.
Yeah, just take it upon yourself to come in and wreck this.
It's totally crazy. All right, let's do this Sunny Hostin video, and then we'll get into some scrolling time. But Sunny Hostin, of course, she's the co-host of The View, and she says that we are living in a racist country. Watch this.
That's great. I think that's very aspirational, and that's wonderful. But because of my lived experience as an Afro-Latina, I'm able to look at this world with a different prism, and I'm able to tell this country and tell this audience and tell my fellow co-hosts some uncomfortable truths. This is a country based on racism and slavery, and founded in it. There is systemic racism
and misogyny,
and there are people that I've never met anyone that raises their hand and says, I am racist. However, there are people that seem to be able to look the other way when it comes to racism. So you have a president who traffics in misogyny, who traffics in xenophobia, who traffics in sexism.
And won.
And won against a black woman. So don't tell me that this country is ready for a black woman. Don't tell me this country is ready for a woman.
Hillary Clinton was one of the most qualified people.
But she was
Can I finish this sentence? Let me finish my sentence.
Well, I got interrupted.
She's qualified. She's more qualified than any man she's run against, in my opinion.
Correct.
And she lost to a reality talk show host.
Qualifications are not what decide the presidency. Right now should tell us that.
That's right.
There's a lot of factors that do. And she had years of... She was dragged down by her husband.
All right, so, they're all yapping, right? And of course, I don't know why they do this, but on the word Latina, the accent comes out. And then she doesn't have an accent on any other word, but it's like, I'm an Afro-Latina, and she's just gotta, drive it home. It's just this show. Then she says this country is founded on racism. It's founded on slavery, which was abolished by our 16th president, by the way. We're on the 47th. So we need to let this go. Am I going to sit up here and say that racism doesn't exist? No. But to talk about in 2025 that you are still being held back by slavery, it's a farce. Seriously, you sound stupid saying that. Then they're having this conversation about how the United States is not ready for a woman president. Well, the Democrats ran two morons. Kamala Harris couldn't even string a sentence together. She was not qualified. On paper, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris qualified, right? They got all the right jobs. Their resume on paper, woo, impressive, right? Secretary of State, Attorney General, whatever they have going on in their resumes, it's right, we get it. However, were they good candidates? No. Hillary Clinton was not likable. She pandered to the black community, and it's you were sold on this? I got hot sauce in my bag swag. You were sold on that? Benghazi, we're over that? You know what I mean? It's there are all these things. It's what makes you think that Hillary Clinton, just because she's a woman, is going to overcome all of those things? Same thing with Kamala Harris. You're going to overcome the fact that you're where the borders are and you let all these people into the country and you didn't do anything. And then, anytime you're in front of a camera or a microphone, it's like the wheels on the bus go round and round and I'm a woman sitting in a blue suit and I just fell out of a coconut tree. Like, what the hell was she even talking about? And then in the 11th hour, she's thrust into the candidacy. No one voted for her ever. She was one of the least popular candidates in 2020. She had to drop out before even one vote was cast. Then she's all of a sudden the candidate, and she didn't even have a policy page on her website. They were just hoping and praying on TikTok vibes and, coconut summer and brat summer and whatever the hell, and it didn't work. And now the ladies on The View, still a year later, are like, the United States, we're just not ready for a woman. No, we are. We're ready for someone who's going to be competent. We just want a competent person in office. Who cares what they look like? Who cares what they have downstairs in their pants? I don't care. Just be a good one. Just be a good candidate. And then to say that, we're a racist country. We're a racist country that elected Barack Obama? It's just stupid to think about. And then in the grand scheme of things, we're one of the only majority white countries who have voted for a minority president. Most times it's majority black countries that vote for black presidents or minority presidents. There really aren't that many examples of this. The only other one that I can think of other than Barack Obama is Vaughan Gething, who served as the First Minister of Wales, and he's a black man. But again, to say that we're so racist, you have to think about this in the context that not a lot of other countries do what we do. They're not as accepting as we are. And it's just plain stupid to, and again, most majority white countries, they're not electing minorities. So she thinks that we're racist for electing a minority because we haven't elected that many or enough in her view. Therefore, the whole planet is racist, according to Sunny Hassan, which I'm sure she does believe. Then, I'm going to use Rosie O'Donnell as an example here because liberals claim that the United States is racist and they hate stolen land and colonialism and imperialism, and then they'll go move to England to escape Trump. You have to be so stupid.
Is Richard Gere another one that did that, didn't he? Richard Gere, the actor.
Ellen DeGeneres, Eva Longoria, I think, or someone. They moved to England as if other majority white countries in Europe are morally superior to the United States and they don't have any racist baggage. It's just so stupid. Rosie O'Donnell moves to Ireland. She'll complain about Trump, racism, women's rights, blah, blah. Then she moves to a majority white Christian nation. 70% of Ireland is Catholic. They have stricter abortion laws than most blue states in the U.S., but they move there as their Trump sanctuary. It's just dumb. Also, last thing before scrolling time, if we even have time for scrolling time, I'm pushing it. I've been teasing this since last week and yesterday, but the queen of rap, Nicki Minaj, she has been teaming up with the Trump administration, and she had agreed to speak at the UN, and she did that today. And, President Trump placed Nigeria in his first administration on the U.S. Religious Freedom Watch list. President Biden lifted it. Christians are being attacked in Nigeria. Now Trump has announced he's going to designate Nigeria again as a country of particular concern over religious freedom violations. And Nicki Minaj is outspoken about this. She is outspoken against this persecution against Christians. And recently she had posted this on X in response to UN Ambassador Mike Waltz. And, this is so cool to see someone in the rap community, in, the celebrity space, if you will, standing up for Christians. You don't really see that often. And Ambassador Mike Waltz said, Nicki Minaj is not only arguably the greatest female recording artist, but also a principled individual who refuses to remain silent in the face of injustice. And she replied saying, Ambassador, I'm so grateful to be entrusted with an opportunity of this magnitude. I do not take it for granted. It means more than you know. The Barbs, which are her fan group, the Barbs and I will never stand down in the face of injustice. We've been given our influence by God. There must be a bigger purpose. And again, in the world and the era of influencers and celebrities that will usually just parrot whatever leftist garbage their viewers and fans want from them. It's really refreshing to see someone stand up for Christians and stand up against this persecution and use their influence for good in the name of God. How often do you see that? Not very often. So here she is speaking at the UN earlier today, thanking the Trump administration. Watch this.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
Very cool to see her stand up for Christians. Again, you don't see this a lot, and when you do, it's really cool to call it out. So I'm grateful to her. And I've been a fan of Nicki Minaj. First of all, she was very outspoken against the COVID-19 vaccine mandates. And she has rapped about MAGA and Republicans before and voting Republican, which is very cool. We see like a lot of rappers are coming out in favor of Trump: Lil Wayne, A$AP Rocky, 50 Cent, etc. And Sexy Red, like all of these people. And, you know, she is one of them. And I have been a fan of her since high school. And I was telling Andy before the show started that I think I ended up getting a detention for this because I lied, which is not good. But my friend and I went to a Nicki Minaj Lil Wayne concert in high school.
How'd you get into that?
What do you mean?
Don't you have to be 18 to get into that show? Do you?
No.
You don't?
We weren't. I was probably 17.
Okay.
16 or 17. But I was always a fan of Nicki Minaj in high school. And my friend and I went to the concert, but it was the same night as a mandatory graduation practice. Or it was like something that was mandatory for graduation. And I didn't go because Nicki Minaj graduation practice. I said, I already know how to put one foot in front of the other. I already know grab with the left, shake with the right, put the tassel over this way. What do I need to go to graduation practice for? I had straight A's in high school. Like, what do I need to go to this for? My biggest mistake was that I posted, I think I said I couldn't go to the graduation practice because I had a family obligation. Then I posted photos from the concert on Facebook, and Sister Rosemary found them. So anyway, I did get in trouble for that, but it was worth it. So I'm a Barb. I've been a Barb, and that's on that. All right, we've got 2 minutes left. We're going to do a video or two in scrolling time. Let's hit it. She got her tonsils removed. She was a little loopy, and she was talking about Trump. Watch this.
Everybody who says differently has a mental disorder.
Who's the man?
Donald Trump.
Say black licorice? No.
If I wanted to speak to Donald Trump, I would tell him that I love him so much and he made the country a better place. And I'm sure my dad agrees.
Yup.
And I will forever debate the Democrats because they don't know what they're talking about. Right, Dad? Good. Somebody.
Just a little loopy, but, you know, she came out of there and her heart was in the right place.
Wasted.
And then everyone in the chat is saying that, you know, it's great parenting there, which is very funny. I got my wisdom teeth out after college, so that was probably later. I think a lot of people get them out in high school or younger. Like, this girl looked like she was in middle school. And I was so afraid to come out of anesthesia and say something stupid because you see videos of this. Like the David After Dentist video that went super viral on YouTube. I'm sure everyone has seen it. You know, he's sitting up in the car and he's like, ah, like just going absolutely insane. And I was so afraid that something like that would happen to me. And then I've seen, you know, women hitting on their dentist or like saying something inappropriate. Like, not that I thought that I was going to say anything like that, but you see these videos and I'm getting so worked up thinking that I'm going to come out of anesthesia and say something stupid. Actually, I woke up in the middle of my wisdom teeth removal and they needed to give me more anesthesia. Anyway, I woke up, I'm sitting there and the nurse comes in And she said, oh, you're awake. And the first thing that came out of my mouth, I said, did I say something stupid or embarrassing? And she said, that's the first thing that you've said. And I said, perfect. Awesome. All clear. So that worked out. Let's do number 25, and then we'll call it a night.
What are those called?
Crackheads.
What?
I'm not hearing this one. Are you guys hearing
I don't know
it?
what they're called.
Yeah. Well, this little girl, I don't know why I didn't hear it, but this little girl had nutcrackers, and her mom asked her what they were called, and she said crackheads. And, you know, she's not lying. They are crackheads. The heads crack nuts. So I think she's onto something.
Some
there.
of them look that way too.
I think she's onto something there. So anyway, thank you for scrolling along with me. I'm going to save all the content that I had for tonight for tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Rumble.com/Hayley, again, is where you can subscribe to the Bongino Report channel. And please do, because we're at 666, and we need to get it 667 and beyond. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.